Obviously, I know the yeshiva works Limah V'Layla to make sure that we're all able to function, both the Rabbeim and the talmidim, and it's a credit, of course, to how we got so far through the year. Bezos Hashem is Baruch. And in the time that I've gotten to know Rabbi Schwartz and Rabbi Rabinowitz, it's a great pleasure to work with them, and it's a great honor to work with them, and therefore it's also a great honor for us to hear a few words from the Menahel.
Part of the reason for the order of events is we want to make sure that all of those who are coming to celebrate with Rabbi are going to have the ability to be here. I see there's somebody already walking up downstairs. First, I want to express our gratitude to Rebecca for allowing us to be mishtatif in this beautiful simcha. This is the kind of thing that the Rebbe could have done in his house, he could have done in his base medrash, and instead the fact that he chose to share this with all of you, the talmidim, in a way that can inspire you, in a way that can encourage your own learning, that we really have to express our gratitude to Rebbe for allowing us to be mishtatif in his simcha, so not really the other way around. I would like to share just a brief thought that occurred to me. There's a famous vart that Reb Shlomo Hirsch says over in last week's parsha. If you look, we have the parsha Samoadim in parsha Samor Perek Chav Gimel Vayikra, and it starts off. It says Mo'odei Hashem Asher Tigros V'Kol Kodesh Elohim Mo'adoi. It says it's going to give an introduction. It says we're going to talk about the Mayadim, and then the pasuk talks about Shabbos, and then it gives the famous pasuk we all know about El Mo'odei Hashem V'Kol Kodesh Tigros Mo'adom. Afterwards, then it starts talking about Yom Tov. So Rav Hirsch asked the obvious question, is one of many, many Mefarshim. They want to know why is it, right, that you introduce the Mayadim, and then you talk about Shabbos, and then you introduce the Mayadim again, and then you talk about Yom Tov. Rav Hirsch points out, this is something that's not just a thought of Rav Hirsch's, but many people point out this difference. Shabbos is what we call Kviya V'Kaima. Right? From the time of Sheish Yismei Bereshis, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, the seventh day was Shabbos. That was set. And then it's been on automatic pilot since then. Right? Every seventh day is Shabbos. There's an interesting shiloh about if somebody is lost on a desert island and he's completely lost track of time and he doesn't know what day of the week it is, right? So then there's a certain halacha that he keeps every seventh day according to his own cheshbon, even if it's not what you would call Shabbos or Shalom. Right? But bottom line is that the regular Shabbos is every 7 days, right? Since Kriyas Olam. And separately from that, we have Yom Tov. What's the difference of Yom Tov? Yom Tov, who decides when Yom Tov is? Who makes that determination? Louder. Based on what? And based on Eretz HaChodesh, certain other considerations can come into play when you do Rosh Hashanah. That's something where we have control, right? And in fact, the first mitzvah that we got together as Klal Yisrael, we know is Rosh Chodesh. Right? Is in fact that mitzvah of setting up the Chodesh and setting up the Luach. And so we see a clear distinction between Shabbos and the Moadim. So why is it there twice? So the first comments as follows. He says Shabbos is Kviya V'Kaima. He said Yom Tov is dependent on us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to emphasize to us that there are two types of Mayadim. There are two types of way that we can serve Him in general. There are things that we can do just because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu established it that way. We're following orders. We're just doing things straight, right? Not because of any chiddush on our part. We're completely passive, so to speak. We didn't set anything up. When it comes to Yom Tov represents the level of Avodas HaKodesh where we are exerting control and we have the ability, the bracha of how to use that time. We're choosing. What do we say at the end of Kiddush on Yom Tov? B'Kadesh Yisrael V'Azmanim, right? The whole point there is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given that power, that level of Kedusha to us. And we're giving the Kadesh the time. Choose how to use that time wisely. And so Hashem says, the same way that I set up Shabbos, I'm giving you a chilek, that you're going to use your time wisely to set up Yom Tov. To think about how, for Rebbe, among all the other things that he does, when he's not being a dayan, he's not being a rav, and he's not being a social studies teacher, right? That he makes the time to complete be'erech 7 plus blot a day, right? So that he can have a constant sense of chazara. You talk about being mekadesh the zman, and how to see how you can use your time and maximize your time, I can't think of a better example for you. And you want to see in real life what Rav Hirsch was talking about. This is exactly what he's talking about. So again, it goes back to the message I said earlier, that we have the zuchus that Rebbe has chosen to be chosen to make the Siyum here, and is including us in his simcha. What a tremendous lesson it is for us all. We should take a growth from it. And remember to follow in his example at our own level, each one of us according to our own yichud. I wish a tremendous moment.
Amen.
I would like to ask a friend of mine who came from far, from all the way from Brooklyn, to say a few words. Not from Brooklyn? From here? Cedars. Okay. Reb Yehuda Moshe Rosebloom. Before, I want to talk about what the Menahel said about using time wisely. I asked when I found I was going to get a big Shas. So I asked one which, actually a big one which had clear letters. Because I tell you, usually the time I learn, I don't know if everybody knows this, certainly not the Rabbi. The time I usually learn the 7th blot is when I'm sitting on my bicycle cycling. And it happens to be good for the cycling and good for the learning. Because I can't get distracted, to learn by a table, you get distracted, you go to take a drink in the middle, you go to take a break. This way you have to go straight until I finish the 7th blot. And so it's good to keep focused on the blot, and it's also good to make your struggles to lose weight as well. So so turn to Eretz. So without Rabbi Yehuda Moshe, please. In Moshe and I go back 55 years, no, not that many, 53 years.
And we're young, Baruch Hashem. This list, all those that gathered here, you should, and we said, Rabbi Yaakov and I go back many years. This is I think the first time I'll ever have a Siyum, but it's interesting. I want you to know, it's a new Shas here. The Shas that he learned with. I'm in this house, well, recently I haven't been there for Shabbos, but whenever I go for Shabbos, he's sitting there, but his Gemara is not put together like this. His volumes are worn out from use. So it's like you would take Lahav Del Lulo, and you could go like this through all the pages, because it's so used. Because that's how invested Rebecca has been all his entire. And it's one of the examples how he's actually started off as a kid. Again, we've known each other. He used to, and this I always like this example, as you know, but he used to sit like I think on Thursday night. He would take a different svarim in the base measures, and he would write down the Dvar Torah. He would take whatever odd svarim that were in base measures. And he still has it. I remember this when we were learning in Eretz Yisrael. He has like a whole catalog of all the different tires that he has written down. And I guess I've gotten brought up by the svarim, by the topic, whatever else. He's very mustadim, but he's dedicated. He's invested. And I want you to know, he's extremely invested in his talmidim. Whether he's teaching them Torah directly as a rebbe, but also even though you're in class, a social studies class, he cares. He cares. He tries to take the Torah that he's learning and bring it alive, even with knowing what's going on in the world. He's very, again, we've been friends for many years. I know how much he cares. So it's a big, it's a big schus to have Baruch Hashem. I know I'm jealous of him personally because of what he knows. It's a tremendous schus. It's when you have a friend like that, when you can, this is what they call kinah cypress. I'm jealous in a positive way because I wish I knew as much as he did, both in Shas, and Paiskim, and everything else that he knows. I often call him up to Shabbos and they have a quick answer because I know I'll get an honest answer, very straight. So it's my chus that I'm able to be here to be mishtante in this tremendous simcha of Abbas HaTorah, and along with his wife, who Baruch Hashem, they do it together. It's her schus also, although he calls that, but it's her schus also that he's able to do what he does. And like I'm glad to be able to call him my friend, and he should be zeicha. They say to Messiah, nice farm, Mesechtas Acheros, and I should be zeicha to be here many more times, many more Siyum with him.
Amen.
Okay, so I think we're going to hear from one of the talmidim, but now that Rebinson is here, we can go ahead with the Siyum itself. Before, not the right, before I get to the actual Siyum, I want to express my special hafrazah to the 8th grade. And I want to thank you all. It's probably unique in that I've had you as students for 3 years, and you know all my weaknesses by now very well. And nevertheless, you have been, by and large, a pleasure to deal with. And by and large, I think we've grown together in all the areas which we've accomplished, whether it's in Avodas Hashem, whether it's in social studies, whether it's a combination of the both. And it's been a privilege to be with you all these years. And I have tremendous gratitude for this amazing gift which you're giving me, which is just stunning. And I wanted to say also that a lot of times when I think, I'm too tired to learn tonight, and I don't do it tomorrow, so I say, well, I'm going to come into school, and maybe they're going to ask me did I learn last night? They're going to ask me when the Siyum is. And therefore, it's a chidus to me to know that there are talmidim who are challenging me to make sure that I learn. So I ask also that when you leave the yeshiva, you continue to check up on me. And that way it's going to be chidus for me to continue and finish the 9th time in summer every year. So the last line, before I read the last line itself, the Gemara says a few blocks before that Anshe Alexandria asked Rabbi Yeshua Chanina Shlosha Divrei Chachma, Shlosha Divrei Agada, Shlosha Divrei Boros, and Shlosha Divrei Derech Eretz. They asked him 3 things in Chachma, 3 things in Agada, 3 things which were silly questions, and 3 things which are asked about how to conduct oneself in this world. And the Gemara then goes through a block or so of these questions. And the Gemara first goes to the halachic questions, and the Gemara goes to the Agada questions, and then the Gemara goes to ask the Derech Eretz questions. It says, "My Derech Eretz." The first question: "My Adam yechtam." What should a person do to become smart? Amar lehem. So he says, "Anshe Alexandria yarbe b'yeshiva." He should sit and learn a lot. V'yimayit b'schor, not do so much work. Amru harbe asukein v'lo yiloi. Many people have done this; it didn't work for them. Yivakshu rachamim mimi shal chachma shelo. You have to ask rachamim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to whom all chachma belongs. Hashem yitain chachma b'piv das u'spuna. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the chachma. From his mouth comes wisdom and understanding. A melech, a king, made a banquet for his servants. And he sends to those who love him from that which is in front of him. There is mipiv, literally from his mouth. And Michael Mashlon. So what's it going to tell us? What Anshe Alexandria adding on to what they were told by Rabbi Chanina? So ha b'ha lo saga. It's not enough to do one or the other. You need both. So you have to learn. You have to misfollow HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And all of us throughout our lives have to do that. We have to learn. We have to ask for siyata d'shmaya. Because ha v'ha lo kaima. Unless we both learn and we ask for siyata d'shmaya, we're not going to get there. By the way, he says the same thing afterwards about riches. Everything in this world is hishtadlus and siyata d'shmaya. So I thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for being mezaka me to be able to learn and be able to teach and be able to have such wonderful talmidim as well. And I'll read the last line. Tan ve'elio, kol shonei halachos b'chol yom, muftach lo shuben olam haba. Shneimar lichos olam lo, al tikri lichos elo halachos. As we all know, means anybody learns halachos every day, he is a ben olam haba. The way we normally understand those things, we say that he's ben olam haba, like somebody does asher 3 times a day, is that now he has a main olam haba. He's in a sense in olam haba, even in this world. Shneimar lichos olam lo. If he has halichos, then olam lo, he has atikri halichos, el halachos, It's not just halichos, it's also halachos. Hadol Mesech Nida v'Dal Talmud Bavli v'Adrochlon. That not Mesech Nida v'Dal Talmud Bavli v'Adrochlon. Lishin Rak Mesech Nida v'Talmud Bavli v'Tishin Reimelon. Lo v'Amadei v'Lam Adasi. Hadol Mesech Nida v'Dal Talmud Bavli v'Adrochlon. That not Mesech Nida v'Talmud Bavli v'Adrochlon. Lishin Reimelon Mesech Nida v'Talmud Bavli v'Tishin Reimelon. Lo v'Amadei v'Lam Adasi. Hadol Mesech Nida v'Dal Talmud Bavli v'Adrochlon. That not Mesech Nida v'Talmud Bavli v'Adrochlon. Lishin Reimelon Mesech Nida v'Talmud Bavli v'Tishin Reimelon. Lo v'Amadei v'Lam Adasi. Yotam Menahel and Elena was saying, Shetay to us from the Sibel on Mazet, he won on my bar, Hanim by Papa, Ram by Papa, Nachma Papa, Chay by Papa, Abamore by Papa, Rafa Papa, Rosh by Papa, Sura by Papa, other by Papa, Zor by Papa. I read and Elena raised the sub between the Yosam called basis up. He had Kulan Nachma Tatsoy, I'm called basis up, so then you'll day Shmechel, day Sura Secha. Mariva's command with Secha, he low me lead. He beat a meal, who kept a man with emotion. Lomish Kak, who dumped the monkey sonny. Ruchatone and the Kukecha, Amen, celebrate. אם אנחנו בנך נלוהינו ובסנו ששמת חלקנו מיושב בית המלש ושמת חלקנו מיושב קונוס שהמשקיעים הם משקיעים המשקיעים דברי תור והם משקיעים דברים פתאים אנו בהם עמדים אנו כמה סוחר והם ואינו כמה סוחר אנו רוצים והם רוצים אנו רוצים חיי מבוא והם רוצים בשחס שהם בתור להתרדים בשחס עד שדומים ממה לא יחצו מהם ואני אבטח לך יצום בנך אדוני אלוהי כשהם זתן ישראל מסך ניר ותלמוד בבלי Kate as they have still sexes is one of a time with Simon, Limo Lami, Lishon, Lassos, Kemis, Kola, Basin, Muz, Lasaka, Beavo, Sus, Tanaim, Bamoin, Tamide, Chachamim, Amali, Zarish, Lotamush, Latormi, P and P, Zari, Zari, Adulam. This kind of Israel, Tankos, Kobashava, Tishmaleva, Patisosa, Heat, this Ichefa. Kibir, Yomecho, Yusiko, Kosh, no Spain, Orkamim, Minobi, Small Ocean Road, and no Yazamaitan, no Reference, Samova, Shalom. Yisrael Shmei Rabo.
Amen.
What was he Yisrael Asel Chaim Yisrael Sofel Chayom Omei Kasod Yisholei Moshachlei Cholei B'Gavav Merkol Puchan Nuchron Me'aro Sod Puchan Lishmael Lasrei Yali Kuchabrichu Malchusei V'Yikorei B'Chayei Chol V'Mechon V'Chayei Chol Beis Yisrael B'Cholav Yizma Korivim U'Amei
Menahel Shmei Rabo Mevarach Yolom Umei Omayo
Shmei Rabo Mevarach Yolom Umei Omayo Yisbarach Yishtabach Yispar Yisomani Yisnasei Yisadar Yisaled Yisalau Shmei Kuchav Richu
Berchu
Ami Kabakasav Yishilosah Tushkosav Nechmosav Damiron B'Amovim U'Amei
Amen.
Ayis Rabbanon Talmidim V'Kol Talmidei Samdim V'Kol Manos Kimarais L'Divas V'Dem Div'Chol Sar B'Asar Elon Chol Shlom Rabachim V'Chisav Rachamim V'Chai Richei Mazon V'Chei V'Bokana Mikama V'Lishmayo V'Yim U'Amei
Amen.
V'Chei Shlom Rabba V'Shmai V'Chayim Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael V'Yim U'Amei
Amen.
Say Shalom V'Yim Ramav V'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael V'Yim U'Amei
Mazel tov u'simcha.
Don't want us to miss the Talmud is supposed to speak. So,
Yechiel Segal.
Yechiel.
So, as the previous speaker said, we're zeicha to share in the simcha of the Siyum. The Yechiel Segal says the greatest simcha in the eyes of the Rebbe Shalom is when you make a Siyum. He said, halacha l'maisa, when you make a Siyum, you should say the Bacha Shas Simcha l'Moinai. It's not attractive, but you see the gravity of it. Now, the Zayar says, one who finishes one Masechta is kind of a world in Adam Haba. So, Kalachayim, the whole Shas, I think there's 35 Masechtas in Shas. Now, the Yechiel Segal continues and says the Siyum is even greater if it's a haskal of something. So I think Rabbi finished last Sunday. Rabbi's already halfway through brachas. So maybe I'll share a short word on brachas.
We make a Siyum on Thursday.
Rabbi, it took you 2 weeks to finish that. We're doing it on the day with the Rabbi, and we're only on the second paragraph.
So the Tzlach asked, Tziyam Menahel written by the Rabbi Yehuda, why is brachas called brachas? Usually Masechtas are called after the first word, the first sentence in the Masechta, or the general topic. Like, for example, Beita. Beita should not have Yontif, but the main topic is Yontif, so it doesn't say, it calls it Beita. So, brachas, it only starts talking about brachas when on Parak Vav, Ketzad Marchim. So, the Siyum Menahel says like this, that he says the Segul Niflad, to remember the learning, how do you know? So he brings the right. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah, that Yud Tes, says that the first parak in Tehillim says Hashem Chavtzai, Kiyim B'Teres Hashem Chavtzai, and then the next pasuk says Ki B'Teres Sai Yegeh Yom V'Layla. So the Gemara asks, how come it switched from Ki B'Teres Hashem Chavtzai to Teres Sai? The Gemara answers, Kan L'B'Tchila, Kan L'Sai. So Rashi says, Kan L'B'Tchila is before he learns Torah, it's Teres Hashem. Kan L'Sai, after he learns Torah, it becomes Teres Sai. Now, the Tzlach brings a Gemara in Brachas, the Gemara Brachas staff, Lamed Hay, brings a different stira. One pasuk says, Hashemayim LaHashem, va'aretz nosam l'nei adam. And another pasuk says, LaHashem ha'aretz u'moya. So, the Gemara answers like Kasha, kan koydem bracha, kan la'achar bracha. So, after it's talking about food. Before you make a bracha on food, then it's considered gezel. So then we say LaHashem ha'aretz u'moya. After you make a bracha, then it's a matana. It's nasan v'ei adam. So that's what the pasuk's talking about. The Tzlach brings a Gemara in the Darm, and I think it's on my test, Rabbi. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It says Moshe learned, huh?
Well, I can, not the Darm.
Shy, you just finished Shas.
Moshe learned Torah. Moshe learned Torah for the whole 40 days and then forgot it until Hashem gave it to him b'matana. Because the Apostle says, "Vayitim l'Moshe k'chalois l'daber." So we learn from here, if Hashem gives you Torah, then you don't forget it. So he answers, Kan b'tchila, back on the Gemara and Brachas, about the stira, Ki b'Teres Hashem Chavtzai, and b'Teres Sai Yegeh Yom V'Layla. Kan b'tchila, before you make Birchas HaTorah, then it's Teres Hashem. After you make Birchas HaTorah, it's a matana from Hashem, b'Teres Sai Yegeh Yom V'Layla. So Hashem wanted, so why is Brachas called Brachas? He says, I'm ashamed of Birchas HaTorah. Since it's the first Masechta Torah Shabbat Peh, Hashem wanted to give you a segula to remember your learning. So he named the Brachas to remember that you should say Birchas HaTorah. I'm pretty sure we can all say that Rabbi knows Shas pretty well. I mean, last time we made a Siyum, I asked him a topic on Gemara, Rabbi gave me the daf right away. So, and we saw Rabbi Shas, it was pretty well. What?
It was a good guess.
We saw Rabbi Shas, it was pretty worn out, so we decided, and we asked Rabbi, that what should we get him as a present? He said we should get him a Shas. So to prevent this from happening again, we got it bound, and as Rabbi wished, we three mints, arranged for it to get stamped with his initials. As a present to Shas, our whole grade and some 7th graders present the Shas to Rabbi.
Thank you very much. רגל שמחת שמחה השמיני על ש"ס בבלי מתוך רוב הקורא וההוקרא המסירוסך בעדנו במשך 13 השנים האחרונות ולמדנו להמתיק את התורה בפינו תלמידים תלמידיך החפצים ללמוד מפיך צבי גרשון מינץ, חיים אליהו רייכמן, יחיאל ויוסף דב סגל וכו'. אוקיי.
No. What? Shia, no. It doesn't say v'chu, don't worry. I know. Redo that.
Pamayim chayla omer. B'shilei tkupas ha-corona. Omein sela.
Shia, wow. That's not right. Rabbi Shlomo, stop the video.